Ibrahim is the Director of Special Initiatives at the Newlines Institute for Strategy and Policy. He's also an adjunct research professor at the Strategic Studies Institute, U.S. Army War College. He joins us live from Washington, D.C. Mr. Ibrahim, it's a pleasure having you on. Thank you for joining us. Firstly, international companies are now being called on to cut ties with Myanmar, but despite the growing pressure to step aside, the military has now ordered wireless internet to be shut down and has added to a growing list of charges against Aung San Suu Kyi. What is your take on how the situation in Myanmar should be handled?
The military seems to have completely miscalculated the extent of the uprising against the coup, and it seems that they have painted themselves now into a corner from which they cannot get out, and hence why they are continuously escalating the violence. And as you mentioned, Reagan, they've killed over 500 people, and many of these people have been killed with long-range rifles with shots to the head. So this is not just shooting skirmishes into the crowd. This is actually calculated murder by the military. And it seems to me that the most effective thing that the West can possibly do is to target the military companies and hit them economically, and target also the senior military leadership with Magnitsky-type sanctions to target their wealth. This whole coup was calculated by General Min Aung Hlaing to preserve himself and his status within the military, and also to preserve him and his family's wealth. So one of the only things that we could possibly hope for is that other leaders within the military will see the folly of his actions and put pressure on him to either step aside or even have a counter coup to remove him from office.
You know, we've actually been hearing as well over the past week or so of these armed ethnic groups possibly mobilizing to help defend protesters. Do you think armed conflict is the way to end this?
No, I don't think that there's any way that armed conflict is going to improve the situation at all. We have to remember what the Myanmar military is, the Tatmadaw. This has been a military that's been at war with every single ethnic minority since independence, in the longest running civil wars in the world. This is probably the only military in the world that has been at war through its entire existence. These are battle-hardened soldiers that have been previously engaged in genocide against the Rohingya minority, engaged in rape camps and all sorts of atrocities. And I think the last thing the civilians need to do is to try to engage in armed conflict against the military. I simply don't think that's going to work.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Azeem Ibrahim at the Newlines Institute for Strategy and Policy, thank you for your time once more.